Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another Ghost of Tsushima video. Today I got something pretty special for you guys. We're going to be taking a look at all 27 legendary items from Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and we're going to be placing them in a tier list from S down to F. Now I'm very interested to see how you guys feel about this tier list, and I want to hear you guys' comments down below in the end and see if you guys agree or maybe disagree with some of my choices. Now we are going over 27 of them, so please know this might be a long video, so I will be putting timestamps down below in order for you guys to be able to skip to certain items that you might like and want to see the grade that I give it. And at the end, you're going to be able to see the complete tier list. I will put a link to this tier list down below in the description so you guys can make your own tier list. And if you guys want to see more stuff like this for Ghost of Tsushima, let me know what kind of tier list you guys are interested in, and maybe I'll do a video on it. Now, I am going to be going over each item. I'm going to be telling you what it does, and I'm going to be giving my opinion on some of the usefulnesses, some pros, some cons. This will be based on how useful these items are in a team environment and how I view them to be useful or sometimes very much not useful. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. If you guys like this video, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If not, it's all good. We love y'all anyway. Let's get it, baby. Hey guys, what is going on? So here is what the tier list look like. As you can see, we are going to be doing this in no particular order. Somebody did specifically create this tier list. Shout out to this individual right here. So let's get right into it, guys. The very first item that we're going to be looking at is Benkei's Last Stand. Now, Benkei's Last Stand, it gives you 75% chance to ignore arrow damage. Now, I would say that this could be useful in Nightmare Survival because it does actually work with the fire spirits that you get in Nightmare Survival, and those can actually be kind of a pain in the ass. So I definitely get why you might want to use something like this. However, to be honest, there are plenty of other useful charms if you are going to be using a legendary charm in your build to begin with, to where I feel like this might not be one of the best choices. It might be cool if it's one of the first legendary charms you get and you just want to test it out, but I wouldn't exactly say that this is going to be any kind of meta. So with that said, we are going to be placing this under F, because I do feel like there's just much better options. Next up, guys, we have the Bottle of Liquid Courage. This is going to be a ghost weapon slot 2. Now, what the Bottle of Liquid Courage does is it refills less health on use, but it will also refill 1 to 2 resolve. Now, I would say that this is pretty dang good for an assassin and a samurai build, and it used to be really good for a hunter build as well. You used to see a lot of people running this build and running this item in order to get as much resolve as possible to kind of, you know, spam your ultimate. So this would be a more ultimate spammy build. However, it did get nerfed. Before, you used to get up to 3 resolve, which was enough for you to get any kind of ultimate. Now it's 1 to 2 if you're lucky. Now, it's still a really good item, and it can still be very useful if it's something that you're trying to do, because, you know, even if you do get 2 resolve filled up, you only have 1 left, and that's not really that hard to get. So you can use, you know, with this, you can use your ultimate more than a lot of other builds. So just because of the fact that it used to be stronger, but it actually is still really strong, because I mean, free resolve equals free ultimate equals a lot more damage equals faster wave clearing. I'm going to say that we're going to be placing this under the A. Now, I would have said that it was S tier if, you know, it didn't get nerfed, because this thing was super strong for those of you who really didn't get to use this as much as most of us did get to use. Next up, guys, we have the Demon Cutter Katana. Now, this is going to be a moon stance katana, and basically anytime that you stagger an enemy, you know, with your moon stance, they are going to have a 30% chance to be thrown back. And this works for any enemy. Now, I would say that, you know, that's something that you would use if this is the only, you know, only legendary katana that you have. I wouldn't exactly say that this is anywhere close to the best katana out there. So with that said, we are going to be placing the Demon Cutter, as of right now, probably going to be placing it under F, to be 100% honest with you. I would not recommend this, considering there's plenty of other better katanas out there. Now, guys, next up we have Demon Seed. Now, if you guys know me, if you've been here for a while, you know that I don't use Demon Seeds, but I know there are plenty of people that swear by this, and I gotta be honest with you, I can completely see the usefulness with Demon Seeds. So basically, Demon Seeds applies weakened to affected enemies. So what it does is it throws these little seeds down on the ground, and essentially anyone that steps on them gets weaken applied to them. So if you know where the enemies are going to spawn, or if you're right in front of the spawn wave in Nightmare Survival. You can throw these down and anyone that steps on it is going to get weaken applied to them. Now, if you don't know what weakened is, basically what weaken does is, one, it takes away the stagger meter and it kind of adds like a little like fractured animation above the enemy's health, and any effect that you put on the enemy, they are susceptible to it, meaning poison, meaning fire. They do also take more damage from these different effects. So I would say that applying weaken, especially if you're trying to clear waves faster, along with, you know, a pretty strong build that has these kind of effects on it, for example explosions and stuff like that, I would say this is actually amazing. And you know, like I said, I've known some absolutely god tier Ghost of Tsushima gamers that play competitively that swear by demon seeds. So with that said, we are going to be placing demon seeds. This is going to be our first S tier item. All right, fam. Next up, we have Enjo's Remorse. Now, Enjo's Remorse, when I very first started using this, the only reason I started using this is because Enjo's Remorse actually at some point got a buff. Now, Enjo's Remorse used to just be, you know, a basic charm that did, you know, the 15 bonus damage when you're at full health. That's very important to note, by the way. That's the effect for this, 15 bonus damage at full health. However, with the update that occurred, you are able, as long as you lock this item to a specific class, you can make this a class specific charm, meaning you have the ability, for example, you see right here that I use it for my hunter, and you have the ability to create a hunter charm out of Enjo's Remorse. So I'm able to put my hunter ability radius along with blessed arrows, fire master, and fire damage all on Enjo's Remorse, and you weren't able to do that before because those are all hunter abilities. That's like hunter specific abilities right there. Now, the bonus damage when you're at full health with this is 15%, and that can actually be absolutely insane. But I will say this, Enjo's Remorse requires a very skilled player, because especially in the higher tier survival, such as Nightmare Survival or even Plat 7 or anything like that, you are going to be taking damage from all different angles, and you need to be a very, you know, this takes some skill and some practice to be able to get good at not being hit, to be able to make sure that your health is all the way maxed out at the beginning of these waves. So Enjo's Remorse is used by a lot of really good players, and maybe you next, if you practice, to do insane damage, because one, you can make it a class specific charm, and two, it's 15% extra damage on top of all your damage that you're already doing. Now, I would say this is extremely versatile. You can use Enjo's Remorse on pretty much any build to add that extra damage. You can use it for your assassin, you can use it for your samurai, your hunter, and your ronin. It's actually a very good charm that when it got its buff, it became that much better. So with that said, Enjo's Remorse is going to be our first charm that we're putting in the S tier class. All right, guys, next up we have Forbidden Medicine, none other than probably one of the best items in the entire game, so you can probably already guess where we're gonna be placing this one, right? With this one, your bombs heal allies that are also caught in the blast. Now, the reason I say that this is definitely one of the best items, you would think like, oh, it's just heals, right? Well, heals are very, very versatile, along with just bomb packs in general. For one, you can use this on any class except for the hunter, because the hunter uses bows. I mean, that's obvious, right? But two, you know, when you get those waves in Nightmare Survival or just any survival where poison effects happen when the enemy's bodies explode, this can heal you while you're like mid, because you know, when you're running around and you're poisoned, especially if it's fire spirits and you stop for the poison effect, if you've ever been poisoned, and the fire spirits target you, you're probably gonna die. So if you have Forbidden Medicine, not only can you heal yourself from the poison, but you can also heal your allies. Now, I mainly use this on my assassin and my samurai because I feel like having a little extra heals is absolutely amazing. Now, the bombs I say are very versatile because you really want to use those bombs not only to get resolve, which is really good and what mainly people use it for, because you know, the more people that are hit with your blasts, the more resolve that you get, the more resolve you get, the more ultimate that you get, which is definitely something that you want to look for. But it staggers any Oni, it staggers any enemies from attacking you. So if they're about to attack you and you throw a bomb on the ground, it staggers staggers them back and it stops them from attacking you. This has saved me in so many situations I can't even explain. Another big thing to note is that Forbidden Medicine, it scales with the blast radius that is on your ghost weapon Sticky Bomb. So when you have blast radius on your Sticky Bomb, you get that much more blast radius added to your Forbidden Medicine and any bomb pack, to be honest. And with all of that said, guys, you can already tell that this is going to be an S tier weapon, and I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Next up, guys, we have the Heavenly Rebuke Charm. Basically what it does, on performing Heavenly Strike, which you are granted Heavenly Strike with this charm, there's a 50% chance for lightning to strike a nearby enemy. Now this actually procs a lot more than you may think, and you might think, oh, it's just lightning. Well, for one, the lightning does decent damage, and two, it adds the fire effect, the burning fire effect on any enemy that it's hit. So as you can see with this one specifically, I have Fire Master on there, which increases the amount of fire damage that gets done to any enemy that gets struck by that lightning. And you are given a free Heavenly Strike, which does cost 1 resolve. You're given a free Heavenly Strike, whereas before, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on when we get to the Stone Katana, whereas before, and we'll talk about it a little bit later when we get to the Stone Striker Katana, you had to use that specific one in order to unlock Heavenly Strike. So now you have a second way to get Heavenly Strike and a really cool and fun effect that is actually insane. So this is absolutely amazing for the Fire Ronin build if you are looking to use this, because you do get that Fire Master, and honestly it's just really strong. And if I'm being straight up, it's really fun to play as a super aggro Fire Ronin. So with that being said, I would say you know, this doesn't really merit an S class, but I will say this is definitely an A class charm right here. Next up, guys, we have what's probably one of the best weapons in the game, and this is a assassin specific weapon. This is Heaven Sting. Now Heaven Sting is the dart gun, and the darts have a 20% chance, let me say that again, the darts have a 20% chance to instantly kill non-Oni targets. You know those big commander looking motherfuckers that come out and they have that super armor, like you would run into the guys in the story mode, you know, you chop their head off. Yeah, those guys aren't Oni, so you can one-shot them possibly with this specific weapon right here. I've seen this weapon used in survival, I've seen this weapon used in story mode, and it is very accurate and it is very precise, and it is super strong. That 20% procs more often than you might think. One of the amazing thing is this is the only ranged weapon in the game that offers stealth attack damage, and basically if you have stealth attack damage on your Heaven Sting, if you have stealth attack damage on your Smoke Bomb, if you have stealth attack damage on basically both of your ghost weapons, it all stacks for your assassin, and it goes towards your assassin's ultimate damage, it goes towards your assassinating power, and essentially this is a very good synergizing weapon in general for your assassin. You can use hallucination darts, you can have shield piercing ammo, and basically this is actually insane. Now the shield piercing ammo is very important, especially if you're going to be using this, because I feel like, you know, a lot of the enemies with the shields are super annoying. So being able to just not have to worry about aiming at their head and only, you know, just spamming this to try and get that instant kill, it makes it a lot easier for you. And another good thing about this is that, you know, when you go into survival and you have that challenge where you have to do headshots, you can get headshots with this as well, and it does count towards that actual challenge. So given the immense versatility of this weapon and the amazing amount of procs that happen with the instant kill of non-Oni targets, obviously, you know, on top of having extra assassination damage, this is obviously going to be an S tier weapon. There's no other question about it, man. All right, number 9, we have Kenji's Shared Brew. Kenji's Shared Brew is a healing gourd that also heals nearby allies when it's used. Now, the thing about Kenji's Shared Brew is it's one of those, if it's the only thing you have, you would use it type thing. I would say that there are plenty of other Ghost Weapon 2 items that are a lot better, not only for yourself, but for your team, because, I mean, yeah, you'll be able to heal a little bit. However, a 90-second cooldown on this thing is kind of takes a little while, and in order to be able to like heal, I just don't think that it's actually worth it, even if you do have the healing increase. Now this can be fun if you are trying to do like a support role type thing and you want to just go around and heal and, you know, enjoy your time and you're just messing around. That could be fun to use. However, given its overall usefulness, I am going to be putting Kenji Shared Brew under the F tier class. It would definitely be like one of the last things I would ever even think about using, to be honest with you. All right, guys, Lady Sanjo Surprise is number 10. Now, if any of you guys know me, and honestly, we've had a lot of times where this item right here is used as basically like a joke, like, oh, Lady Sanjo Surprise is the item that you should be using, right? Kind of like a little troll joke. Basically, it's a dirt throw item that also has a 25% chance to cause enemies to hallucinate. The thing about hallucination, just in general, especially in survival, it causes a lot of chaos and disorder. And in survival, you don't really want chaos and disorder. You want the enemies in one straight line to either be at the spawn point or be inside the circle. There's no in between, because once they start scattering, for one, the waves are going to take forever. Two, there's a possibility that the enemies are going to get stuck, lost somewhere, and they're going to end up at a different area when they're not even supposed to be, and you're going to be spending forever trying to find them. And honestly, if you guys know me, I hate dirt throw, and I would probably never use dirt throw as much as, you know, it could be kind of fun to use. It isn't anything that I feel like I would be using. So I would honestly say that this is just overall a useless Ghost Weapon 1 item, because there is so many other better ones. Now, with that said, guys, we are going to be putting Lady Sanjo as a D tier item. And the only reason I'm not putting it as an F tier item is because Lady Sanjo's does have some specific perks that you can put on there that are actually very useful, because at the end of the day, it is still a dirt throw, and dirt throws offer really good perks. So if this is one of the items that you have, you know, then you would use this one. However, this is not anything that I would highly recommend at any point. All right, guys, number 11 is going to be Last Breath. Now, I actually mentioned this item at one point in one of my build videos for the Samurai for my Injured Resolve build, because Injured Resolve is very tricky if you don't balance it correctly for the Samurai. Instead of taking fatal damage, you heal for 50 health, not 50%. You heal for 50 health, like health points, and it can occur every 5 minutes. Now, for me, that 5 minutes is a very long time, and it kind of sucks because, you know, if you're not timing it correctly, you could forget that you're within that 5 minutes and actually just go down in general. I mean, as an Injured Resolve build, you don't really want to shoot for even being close to dying, right? But sometimes it gets there, and sometimes it happens, especially with archers around. And if you have this item here, it can be really helpful for an Injured Resolve build, because, you know, you heal instead of die, which is actually really insane, because for one, it doesn't count as a down because you get right back up, and two, that 50 health can go a long way to getting a little bit more resolve for your Injured Resolve build. But aside from that, I would say that this is otherwise useless, and I wouldn't recommend using this on any other build. But I will be placing this Last Breath under the C tier, because I do think that the Injured Resolve build for a Samurai is very, very strong when it's used properly. And this is a very great item to add on to that. Otherwise, kind of useless. All right, guys, number 12, we have the Magma Bomb. The Magma Bomb, I will say, used to be chef's kiss. It used to be absolutely amazing. What this bomb does, it's a Ghost Weapon 1 slot. Basically, it attaches to an enemy and explodes, staggering anyone that's caught in the blast and creating a small smoke cloud, which does act as a smoke bomb, which means as an assassin, you can use that smoke bomb to in turn go and get some assassinations, get some critical strikes. As a hunter, you can use that smoke to hold back some enemies and stand inside and get some headshots to get some resolve. It used to be very strong because the smoke used to stick around just as long, if not a little bit longer, than the regular smoke bomb. And that didn't last very long because it got nerfed, and now it barely sticks around for maybe, like, if you're lucky, you can get 3 assassinations. Maybe 2. Unfortunately, with that nerf, it kind of ruined it for me. It used to be really, really good, but it can still be useful, and it is still a good option if you don't have many other options available to you. Now, with that being said, this Magma Bomb, I am going to be placing it on the C tier just because of that nerf. Otherwise, this probably, I ain't even gonna lie, this probably would have been the first Ghost Weapon 1 S tier item. Guys, number 13, Masamune's Edge. Listen, this is probably one of the best katanas in the game, if not the best katana. First of all, you get wind stance, okay? If you guys don't know, wind stance is very good against the spearmen, okay? The spearmen are probably the most annoying motherfuckers in the entire game, all right? They're so aggro, they're very hard to time because they kind of have this like weird little delay when they attack. Now, when you have wind stance, you automatically parry as long as you are blocking or whatever. However, you automatically parry spearman attacks. It's not a perfect parry, but it's a parry, and you completely evade it just in general, which is amazing. Your melee attacks have a 20% chance to deal double damage. Now, as you can see, I am using this on my samurai because yes, it does proc when you are using your ultimate as well, which is actually insane. You could do crazy damage with this thing, man, especially if you do the 5-hit technique for the ultimate for the samurai. It's absolutely insane. The Masamune's Edge is really good with the assassin as well, because that 20%, that double damage proc also procs on the assassin's ultimate, and you can literally melt those oni with the purple oni with the massive health bars. You can just melt them with this. It's actually just nuts. This is definitely something that I would highly recommend. Once you get Masamune's Edge, dude, just try it ASAP. For anyone that knows me, probably already knew before this even started, Masamune's Edge is going to be our first S tier katana. Next up, guys, number 14 is going to be the Master's Katana. Now, listen to me. A lot of people swear by the Master Katana. A lot of people love the Master's Katana. Using it on your samurai, being able to switch through all the different stances. As awesome as it sounds, I will say this does take a very, very skilled samurai in order to be able to manage all of these different stances in the middle of a hectic nightmare survival. Right? This could be very fun in all, you know, in your bronze through gold survival. In nightmare survival, it gets a little chaotic and you might not even be thinking about switching. The fact that the other katanas, such as the water katana or the moon katana, you know, just the katanas separately are still very good by themselves. You know, you adapt to every enemy that you're fighting, right? You don't exactly need to be at the very right stance for each single enemy. You know, I will say that as amazing as the Master Katana is, it's kind of a waste of a technique, because there are other katanas such as the Masamune's Edge that we just went over that are more helpful to the team than just running around and switching stances. But like I said, this would be very fun in like all the other survivals. So Master's Katana can be very versatile in the hands of a very good samurai. However, I don't think that it's something that I would recommend over Masamune's Edge, for example. Now, with that being said, I will be putting Master's Katana under the B tier. Next up, guys, we have number 15, which is the Mist of Yahata. And to be honest with you, this definitely was something that I had a lot of fun with using in the past. Basically, what it does is a smoke bomb that also heals allies that are inside of the smoke. So when you throw it down and you have any allies around you, it does heal them. The biggest problem, however, is that it heals them very slowly. They don't necessarily get a lot of health inside of this. The only and the main time that this can be useful is during a poison round, and you want your team to be safe within the smoke. Other than that, I cannot think of any other good use for the Mist of Yahata, just simply because of the fact that it has such low healing. Now, if it had better healing at a faster rate with more heals, I would say that this would be a very good item to have. However, since the healing is kind of ass, I will be placing the Mist of Yahata under C class. All right, guys, next up, number 16, we have Restorative Rhythm Charm. Now, right off the rip, I will say there are plenty other charms that are much better than this one. However, with the effect, hitting a healing drum will heal all wounded heroes and revive anyone that is currently down. Restorative Rhythm can be very, very good for an insane support Ronin, or even a samurai that heals, right? The thing is, you have to be in that mindset that you're going to be a support role, and your team has to know that to spare and to save those drums, because the problem is if you're using this with randoms, you know, anyone that gets hurt even a little bit, they're gonna go and hit one of those healing drums, right? They're not gonna wait. They're not gonna know what your build is. If you are using this specific charm, you want to make sure that you're running it with the squad, and the squad knows don't touch those healing drums because our Ronin is our healer, right? You have your healing incense, you have your ultimate, you're gonna have Restorative Rhythm, and maybe if you have Forbidden Medicine, right? If you want to be a full out, all out support, this would be a very good item. Other than that, to be 100% honest, it is, you know, it's not very useful. Now, with that being said, I am placing this under the B class, you know, for the simple fact of the effects on this actual item being absolutely just bonkers to think about. There's two separate effects. One, when you hit a healing drum, when you're standing in it, it heals everyone despite where they are on the map. So this goes all around the map. The same thing with the second effect that also revives down enemies at the same time. So this could really create for a super freaking Ronin that's healing, and you can just be in one spot and heal and revive everyone on the map without using an ultimate. It's basically a Ronin ultimate all in one. So as much as I would say that it would be useless for anyone else that's not running a support build, the effects alone earn this a B slot tier with no questions asked. All right, guys, number 17, we have Sacred Iron. The Sacred Iron charm, basically enemies that deal melee damage to you have a weaken applied to them. Kind of like how we spoke about the Demon Seeds earlier that applies weaken. Basically, if any enemy hits you, it applies weaken on them. This would insinuate you're letting them hit you, which would also insinuate that you are doing an Injured Resolve build for a Samurai, for example. However, we talked about Last Breath being probably best in slot if you are going to be using a legendary charm on this build. So I wouldn't recommend even using Sacred Iron, because who wants to sit there and let anybody hit them unless you're a samurai? It literally makes no sense. So unfortunately, this does have probably one of the weakest effects in the entire game. So Sacred Iron is going to be placed under the F class and is going to be our second charm that we have in the F class tier. Up next, guys, at number 18, we have Sarugami's Glare. Sarugami's Glare is another charm that basically anytime you do a perfect dodge, not a perfect parry, a perfect dodge, it becomes some kind of attack that blinds nearby enemies. Basically like you throw a flash bomb at them and it blinds them that way. That's basically what it does. Now, I will say, sounds pretty cool. However, when it comes to overall usefulness, it does depend on you being able to get that perfect dodge. I don't think that a lot of people want to sit there and try and time that when you could just be nuking the enemies. You know what I'm saying? Some people might find these type of like off effects to be fun. However, when it comes to being supportive for your team, I would not recommend this in any way, shape, or form. Kind of useless, to be honest with you. And with that being said, Sarugami's Glare is going to be placed as the third charm that is in the F tier. Next up, guys, we have at number 19, Shogun's Fortitude. This is another legendary charm that grants immunity to flash and poison effects. Now, I could easily say there are other charms that are way more useful than this, and that's just 100% true. But I will say that flash and poison effects are probably some of the most annoying things in the entire game to deal with, whether it's story mode or whether it's nightmare survival mode, right? So this could be very useful if, you know, you have a week where you have the boss waves that have flash or poison on the enemies that are downed, right? Because when they're down, they explode and you can get flashed or you can get poisoned. And you just don't want to deal with that stuff because you just want to be aggro. You want to be all up in their face. This is definitely something you could use, right? It can be fun. However, other than that, it's going to be completely and utterly useless. And I would not recommend even messing with this if you have a different charm. Now, for the reason alone of those poison and flash effects being absolutely annoying and this kind of circumventing that, I will be placing this under the D class instead of F, because as much as I want to put it under F, those flashes and that poison effect is so frustrating. I hate not being able to control my character and I hate not being able to see. So, you know, I can see somewhat usefulness. So we'll put that under D. At number 20, we have none other than the Spirit Kunai, which is hands down one of the best weapons in the entire game. This is a Ghost Weapon 1 slot. If you don't know what the Spirit Kunai does, or if you've never gotten to use it before, every time you get a kill with your kunai, and I'm not just talking with the weapon itself, I'm talking with each specific kunai, right? When you throw your kunai, it throws 3. Okay, if you can get 3 kills with those kunai, every single kill lowers your cooldowns on your character, all of your cooldowns, right? Not just your ghost weapon, by 10 seconds. So if you have a basic Spirit Kunai that throws 3 kunai and you get 3 kills, that's a 30-second cooldown reduction on all your cooldowns, meaning your smoke bombs, meaning your class ability for your hunter and any other class. Like, hello? Now, that's not even it. You have the ability to add hidden blades, which throws 5 kunai at once. So if you have 5 weakened enemies and you're able to throw all of those kunai and hit one person with each kunai, which I've done before, you're gonna have a 50-second cooldown right off rip just with the kill. And that's not even including the fact that you have cooldown reduction on kill plus 4 seconds. So every single kill that you get, you're gonna also get plus 4 seconds on top of the 10 seconds. So think of each kill being worth 14-second cooldown. Absolutely insane. And you have super massive that you could put on there, which I would recommend this being the specific build that you use with the Spirit Kunai, because super massive deals extra damage and causes lighter enemies like the littler ones, the ones that don't have shields, not the brutes or anything like that, to get thrown back. So one, throws them back and gets them off of you if it's something that you need, and two, anytime you hit any enemy with the kunai, they're gonna stagger and they're going to stop attacking. So the Spirit Kunai is hands down one of the best weapons in the entire game, and I think you already know where this is going, right? The thing is, every single class can use the Spirit Kunai. This is not a class specific kunai. You can use this on your hunter, on your samurai, on your ronin, on your assassin, and I have used them on every single one of them, which is literally probably the most fun that you can have using this Spirit Kunai on these builds. I can have a whole video talking about the usefulness of Spirit Kunai for each and every single class just because it's that freaking amazing. So let's just go ahead and do the obvious thing, and let's place this here under the S tier, because I feel like it really doesn't need any further explanation for why the Spirit Kunai is one of the best weapons in the whole game. Speaking of one of the best weapons in the entire game, if not the best weapon in the whole game, at number 21, we have none other than the Skipping Stone Bow. This Skipping Stone Bow, not only is it incredible, but it is also very rare. Okay, it's very hard to get, but once you get it, you're set. You're just set. Again, this isn't a class specific item. You can use this on any ghost. Okay, however, using it on the hunter is probably the best thing that you could even imagine. Every single headshot ricochets to a nearby enemy. Let me say it again. Every single headshot ricochets to a nearby enemy. No, it doesn't cost 2. It's only 1 arrow. It's only 1 arrow when you get a headshot. And the reason I say that this is one of the best items, especially for a hunter, is because when you have explosive arrow for your hunter, if you get a headshot with the explosive arrow, not only are you going to get 1 explosion, but you guessed it, you're going to get 2 explosions, because that is going to ricochet and it's going to immediately hit another enemy and it's going to explode there too. So the fire effect and the explosion effect, they multiply, right? They stack, and they're going to be hitting pretty damn hard if you do get a headshot with this ricochet. I would suggest having headshot refund, range damage, reload speed, and helmet piercing ammo. You can also use shield piercing ammo, because your reload tech, and we can go more in depth on another video, and I'm sure I have, your reload tech, it requires your reload speed to be up as high as possible, because basically when you knock that arrow, that's how fast you can release it as well. If you want to do draw speed is drawing the bow back, which is super unnecessary, because, you know, pretty much with the rapid fire technique, you're not going to be drawing your bow back as far as you can very often. Sometimes you will, don't get me wrong, to try and get the most damage, you know, on an enemy that's not really being aggro towards you. So when you have that time, you'll be using it in that way. Now, with all the amazing things that I'm saying about this bow, I will say it used to just be a little bit better. This bow used to give you double resolve anytime you would hit a ricochet headshot and it would go and hit another enemy. Now, they nerfed it to where you don't get that double resolve, unfortunately, but this is still the best weapon in the entire game, irregardless of the fact that they decided to nerf it. Now, with the fact that this is the best in slot item for your hunter and it can be used on any other ghost, and all the other usefulness that we spoke about, considering, you know, you do want it to be the usefulness of the whole team. You know, you got your hunter that's over there. They don't have to worry about your hunter, right? They don't have to worry about you. You're over there handling your business with your Skipping Stone Bow, and they're like, all right, we're chilling, right? So to say that this is good for a team is an absolute understatement. Okay, this is the best weapon, honestly, the best item in the whole game next to the Spirit Kunai, and it's obviously going to be an S tier item. Number 22, here we are, guys. We're getting a little bit closer. 22, we mentioned this earlier. Okay, this is the Stone Striker Katana. This is the OG Fire Ronin build, because it does grant Heavenly Strike, as you see here. And if you don't want your Heavenly Strike on your Heavenly Rebuke, you can get Heavenly Strike on your Stone Striker. Now, the main difference between the Stone Striker and the Heavenly Rebuke charm, yes, Heavenly Rebuke does give you a Heavenly Strike, but it doesn't give you this amazing effect that the Stone Striker gives you. And that's when you do a Heavenly Strike against a staggered enemy, not only does it do extra damage, but it also repels nearby enemy. And it does cost 1 resolve too, but doing extra damage and repelling nearby enemy is amazing. amazing. If you're able to stagger them, whether you break their stagger meter, or you know, one of your teammates has a bomb, or you know, you run in, you shoulder check them or anything like that, and you perform a heavenly strike, or if you have a bomb pack, Ronin bomb pack, you throw a bomb at their feet and you perform a heavenly strike, you're going to be doing extra damage and you're going to be repelling nearby enemies. This is, as you can see, you know, you probably can see the reason why this was the OG build, and honestly a lot of people still use the Stone Striker. The Stone Striker is amazing, and it's definitely one of the best weapons in the whole game. This does give you the stone stance, right? Because this is the stone katana. The stone stance is what you use against enemies that have swords, and it does give you the stabbing animation. If you are, you know, you hold triangle, release, and then tap triangle, it does give you those stabs, which are very, very, very strong as well. Now, I can't sleep on this. I do have to be 100% honest. This isn't something that I use, but with respect to this weapon, we will be placing this katana also in the S tier class. Next, guys, at number 23, we have Sugaru's Sight. Sugaru's Sight is a bow that when you fire your arrows, if you have enough arrows, you can shoot up to 3 arrows at a time. Problem is, it doesn't support piercing ammo. So you can't have helmet piercing and you can't have shield piercing ammo, which is, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, if I'm being straight up, this is probably one of the worst weapons in the game. It can be fun, whatever, if you're bored. I don't know, you want a challenge? I don't fucking know. But to be honest, giving this effect and the fact that it doesn't support piercing ammo, I get it. All right, piercing ammo probably would be really strong on this thing, but give it something. I don't know, just taking away piercing ammo and just making this a regular like bow that does nothing, and it's a long bow, right? I don't know, it's completely useless when there's 2 other bows that are just so much better than this just in general. It's kind of a waste of a legendary slot. Also, the 3 arrows don't proc when you're using your ultimate, right? Obviously, you don't want to have hella arrows flying around. That would be OP, but it's just another reason that I don't like this thing, man. So with that being said, this is going to be placed under the F tier. No questions asked. Let's move on. Next up, guys, for number 24, we have the Touch of Heaven Sticky Bomb. Now, this Sticky Bomb also heals allies on hit. It's another healing item, just like Mist of Yahata, just like Restorative Rhythm, just like Forbidden Medicine, right? It does heal. However, it heals off of a sticky bomb. Now, if any of you have ever tried to throw sticky bombs or tried to throw kunai and they kind of just go off to some random location, yeah, that's what this does. It's the same thing. So it's very hard to be accurate with this. And if there's no enemies around and your teammate or yourself needs some kind of heal, it's going to be completely useless, right? Now, can this be useful in the sense that, you know, your sticky bomb can benefit off of blast radius and you can get a heal off at a higher radius? Yeah, that could be really good, right? But I got to be honest with you, there's much better ways to heal if you want to be a support character than using a sticky bomb that might not even go where you intend, and if you don't have any enemies around, it's useless. So with that being said, I am going to be putting this under D. Now, the reason I'm putting it under D and not F is because the heal on this actual item is actually pretty decent if you can get it off. It does heal a very good amount. However, like I said, there's specific circumstances that need to be in place in order for this to actually be useful. Next up, guys, we have the Weightless Spirit bow. This thing is absolutely insane. The arrows that you shoot from this thing do not descend. They don't descend, right? So using a rapid fire tech along with this right here, you basically got a little submachine gun of arrows coming out of this one little person, and it's absolutely insane. Basically, this is hit scan shooting. It goes right where you aim. You're aiming at somebody's head, that's where it's going. I don't care if they're right in front of you or if they're all the way across the map. It's actually insane to think about. And this item is used on a lot of different classes, not just the hunter, right? You can use this on the hunter and it's still going to be very, very useful, very fun. You don't get the ricochet, but you kind of make up for it by how fast you can shoot your arrows if you're skilled enough to do so. You can also use this on your assassin. You can also use this on a samurai, and I've even seen Ronin using this. So I do think that this is a very versatile bow, and it can be very useful in order to try to get that resolve if you are an assassin or a samurai, because, you know, every arrow that you hit is going to grant you a little bit of resolve. So this is a very good item right here. And if you don't have a skipping stone bow on your hunter, this is an amazing substitute. A lot of people get this before they even get their skipping stone bow. So if you have a weightless spirit, I would suggest rocking this before you get your skipping stone bow. Even if you have your skipping stone bow, this is a very good one to switch back and forth from if you want kind of a little change in pace. Now, with all that being said, I will be placing the Weightless Spirit under S tier. All right, guys, next up on number 26, we have Wrath of Sarugami, a water stance katana. Your regular parrying is disabled. Basically means you need to get a perfect parry, and your perfect parries become a chain of 3 separate controlled attacks, right? And when I say attacks, I mean they're slashes. They're slash attacks. So the problem with this is your parrying needs to be perfect, otherwise you're gonna get hit. I don't think that this is very useful for a team, because the problem is if you get hit, you lose health, you could possibly die. If you go down, you become a burden to the team. Constantly getting a perfect parry in the higher tier survival or even story modes is very, very difficult, and takes a skilled player that pays attention and kind of understands the enemy in the way where they know what they're going to do, right? If you're not there yet, I don't suggest this weapon in any way, shape, or form. Plus, I will say there are other katanas that are much better than this in general, and the effect alone doesn't give it enough and to be able to boost it up to something that I think I would recommend. Now, with that being said, I will be placing this under D class for the katana. All right, guys, last but not least, and this is going to be super easy because this is Yoshitsune's hand. Okay, this is a water katana where staggering a target has a 30% chance to cause knockdown. Now, since it is a katana where you have to stagger them, basically the only way to do that is to break their stagger meter. Whereas the Stone Striker katana, you only need to hit staggering enemies with the Heavenly Strike in order to get that effect. Well, that means you can use your bomb pack. However, with this, after you stagger them is when you get the 30% chance to be able to knock them down, which insinuates you can only use your katana to do so, which means the only way you can do that is by breaking their stagger meter with your katana. You know, that's not very ideal, and especially in a situation where you have a lot of enemies attacking you at once, you don't want to sit there trying to break their guard. You just simply don't have time. So with that being said, we will be placing this under F tier. Now, guys, here is my final list, the fruits of our labor, everything that we've gone over today, and let me know what you guys think, man. We have a very good amount of S tier items that I believe can make or break you in general, and those S tier items can make a whole build actually with the variety that's in there. Wow, guys. That was a lot of talking. That was very in-depth. That was a long video. If you stuck around to the end, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. That list right there is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I really, really want to hear what you guys have to say about it down below in the comments. You guys agree with all my choices? You agree with some of them? You agree with none of them? I would very much like to know what you guys feel. I had a good time making this, man. I have used pretty much almost every single one of those items, except for, you know, maybe a couple of them that I honestly didn't even see it being worth it in general, which, you know, some of those F tier items. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. We went over quite a bit. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If not, it's all good. We love y'all anyway. Also, if you guys are curious about the shirt that I'm wearing, this is my clothing brand, Imagine Athleisure, which is also linked down below. If you guys want to check it out, feel free. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. I'll catch you on the next one. Much love, baby. Peace.